Welcome to Railfans Canada. I'm Shane Seguin, and today we're here at the Alto High-Speed Rail Open House consultation here in Ottawa at Bayview Yards. We're going to be talking to some of the presenters to learn more about this exciting project that's set to revolutionize rail transportation in the busiest corridor from Quebec City to Toronto. Joining me now is Joel Wiebe, who's going to be talking about the overall Alto project.
Yeah, so I'm going to give a bit of a high-level view of what we're looking to build. So we are going about 1,000 kilometers, so that's Toronto, all the way to Quebec City, with stops in Peterborough, Ottawa, Laval, Montreal, Trois-Rivières, with trains that are traveling about 300 kilometers an hour. So this is high-speed rail. We're going to get people there quickly, servicing an area of close to half of Canada's population with some pretty key demographics in that area. As we move on, well, why are we doing this? I mean, number one, obviously cutting travel times in half is important. What really excites me about this project is it's going to feel like we're bringing people closer together. In Canada, we're used to these big distances. We measure distance in hours for a reason. And so myself, I'm based out of Peterborough area, and we look at Toronto, it's an hour and a half to 2 hours to do everything there. It's the center for a lot of us. We're going to be looking at Ottawa and Montreal in a similar way. And I think you're going to find a lot of these major cities, people are going to see each other closer together, more accessible than they've ever felt before, which is important as Canadians. We're going to be creating a lot of jobs as we go through this. So that's not just construction and people like myself working for Alto. That's as we bring those communities closer together, people are going to have new opportunities for work, for school, for leisure, and that will grow our economies as well. This will improve people's quality of life. I've been doing the drive right now from Peterborough to, Toronto, Peterborough, Toronto, Ottawa in my car. And boy, I would love to just have my laptop open or read a book for that ride. So you get that time back, right? That travel time. It's a safe way to travel. We're going to be reducing greenhouse gas emissions, so equivalent of about 100,000 cars a year off the road. So that's including some of the air travel as well, taken into account for that. And we're also supporting reconciliation. So we have an Indigenous relations team that have been doing amazing work, working with communities throughout the area to make sure that we can truly make this a nation-building project. And it's going to be something that's accessible for people to get from point A to point B and meet different levels of people's expectations on that service. And then we're going to go into the timeline. So we've gone through pre-development. We do have a private partner, so that was as we went through the RFP to get that. So Cadence is the consortium on the private side of it. And we are right here in the development and pre-construction, which means that right now, from now till 2029, the mandate from the federal government is we need to have this whole project designed and ready to go. So that's every waterway, every bridge, every station, every community we're going through. We need to have all that work ready to go for them to approve. And then we start segment 1, which is Ottawa to Montreal, Laval, and that's about a 7 to 8 year build out. We won't be waiting for that to be complete before we start segment 2 and 3. We'll wait till there's a good point in the construction period where we feel it's a natural fit, move on to those. And in the same way, we won't wait for all of this to be complete before we start trains rolling. So the first trains will just be Ottawa to Montreal and Laval, and then as we get the rest of it complete, they'll go from there.
Great, thank you very much. So now I'm joined by Jean-François Rousseau, who's going to be talking to us about the Alto corridor.
Hi. So as you can see on the map here, the corridor is between Toronto and Quebec. So what you see in blue is the area of study of the corridor of where the rail may pass through. Right now we're studying this whole region in different factors. So you have the technical aspect of the train, environmental aspect, social aspect, urban planning with different stakeholders, and of course financial aspect of the project. You see that it goes from Toronto to Peterborough, Ottawa, Montreal, Laval, Trois-Rivières, and then Quebec. As you can see also there's a fork here as we're considering 2 different options for the rail to that region. I'm going to zoom in a bit more between Ottawa and Toronto on the Ontario side. So again, as you can see, we have the same corridor, much larger in greenfield space, and then it starts to taper back where population density comes because there's less choices for the right-of-way to be there. You can also move a bit closer to the Ottawa region. So on the map, what you see here in light blue, you have the corridor. You have the current transit systems right now. So here you have your O-train. You have the projected O-train line here. You can see the old railways here. You have Via Rail That's right here. And in dark blue here is where potential station may be in Ottawa. So it goes from Ottawa Station all the way to Parliament. So right now, this section here in Ottawa, it's 1.5 million people, 3% of Canada's population roughly, that will be served by the station here. The point, of course, is access to fast, reliable intercity travel on a national level, reduce travel time, road congestion, connecting people faster and a convenient way for the service. So it's a good project that has a lot of potential for good job creation and connecting people together.
And if people want to comment, provide feedback on the routing, what's the best way to do so?
So either you come into open houses here, we have a map section where you can put a pin on the map, put your comments, or online you have the same chance to do so by visiting the website and putting your pin on the map with your comments.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
So I'm now joined by Amir Adalat, who's the Systems Engineering Director for the Alto project.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Happy to be here. We are in booth safety and delivering a high-performance system for Canada. As you may know, high-speed trains are having a proven record of safety around the world. They are only comparable for planes. Otherwise, no other transportation mode can beat them. And we are talking about decades and decades of experience that you can find around the globe. We have Shinkansen trains that they had proven record of 0 fatalities since 1960s. Or we can talk about SNCF TGV, which has a 1 fatality over 4 decades for passengers. So it's a very highly reliable, safe system. We are targeting for 300 plus kilometer per hour trains that they will travel from Quebec City to Toronto. And the whole technology and design are based on the specifications that they have been tested and they have been proven in practice around the globe. In Canada, for sure, we are dealing with very cold and severe situations, so design needs to keep that into consideration. All the procurement packages, all the requirements for the system, they are supposed to be extremely robust against extreme cold or heat that we are experiencing sometimes in summer. So we are talking about a very wide range of temperature and environmental conditions. Switches, they will be equipped with heating system. The design of a track, sub-ballast, subgrades, grades, and ballast, all of them are anti-frost, designed with that in mind, making sure resistance against frost. We will be using continuous welded rail, which in comparison with regular rails that most of the customers, most of the passengers experience, it doesn't have that click-clack that when you're traveling on the train. So, and it will be treated during installation and maintenance to be resistant against expansion during heat summer time frame. So there's a lot of thoughts going on there. From design perspective, of design of a track surface, we are going to have the concrete sleepers or ties, which it's a little bit unfamiliar in intercities. We usually used to have a wooden ties. Now we have concrete, and that gives us more grip on the track. The track alignment will be more robust, less maintenance, less problems with the track. Over the switches especially, it gives more balance. The trains can move faster over the switches. That's another reason. The over-catenary system that is designed is based on electric for sure. We cannot get to 300 kilometers by diesel. It's not sustainable, but it's based on over-catenary system. And a lot of thoughts and requirements have been put to ensure this is also proven against frost and ice that we may have in winter. It has heating systems. There is a control supercharge to make sure there will be no ice accumulation on the track. In this slide, you can see a little bit better. We have a right of way between 40 to 60 meters, 2 separate dedicated line designed for the train operation. It's not going to be shared with freight or conventional passenger services. There will be a service road For emergencies and maintenance, we kept it into considerations. Trains are equipped for additional autonomy support systems in case of a power loss, very rare but possible. It can continue moving to the degraded mode to the safe location, so people are not stuck basically in middle of nowhere. That's another angle of the design. Elevated track are considered for sensitive areas like cities and wildlife sensitive areas. Stations are equipped with level boarding, so there's less of a problem during boarding and onboarding from the trains. Spacious areas for accessibility and ensuring passengers they have a different experience. The design kept into consideration a lot of thoughts about vibration, because that's another issue. Yeah, when you travel with 300 kilometers per hour, vibration can be very annoying if it didn't thought very well. The aerodynamic design of the train and all the standards that we are considering are to support that, especially inside tunnels. There's a piston effect that it will be very annoying, noise will be very annoying. One key important that noise barriers will be put on the two sides of a track to ensure people living around the track they would not suffer. It's also we protect wildlife sensitive areas with noise barriers. That's another issue. Last but not least, in this slide you can see a lot of thought has been put to ensure our specific weather conditions are part of the design. They are not adds-on. They are from day one. They are considered. We are doing our best to learn from what has happened in Switzerland, Scandinavian countries, Russians, and Japanese, which they do have very similar situation, to make sure our tracks are protected and we can provide a reliable service to all passengers for all 4 seasons. If any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
And can you maybe speak about, it's all going to be secured, separated, there'll be fencing the entire length of the line. Can you talk a little bit about how that's going to play in and how there's going to be, for where it is currently, let's say, level grade crossings, how is that going to work in the future?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Thanks for asking it. So one of the biggest challenges that railways are usually suffering from in Canada is grade crossings or trespassers. Yeah, we do not get many train-to-train collisions, but every once in a while we get a train hit a truck or a trespasser, and unfortunately it's a very, very severe consequence attached to it. So how do we solve it? We eliminate the problem. From day one of the critical requirements is this corridor should have 0 level crossing. Basically, no level crossing from day one is in the mind. All the engineering and specifications are following this. And 2 sides of the track are fenced, fully fenced, to ensure no trespasser or animal wildlife, they don't cross the track. And in 300 kilometers, it's impossible to pause or stop the train to let them pass. It's not an option, and we can't tolerate that. On the other side of this equation is we have to have overpass or underpass provided for farmers, for communities. We don't want to divide communities. For wildlife also, we should keep into consideration right passages, so there is no limitations for migrations, or we do not change the landscape by adding the high speed. So these are few of many measures that we are keeping in mind to make sure, first of all, this new addition of a high speed is going to be safe and reliable, but on the other hand, we are minimizing the impact to the communities, and we hopefully can have a very robust system that serves Canada for many years to come.
And last question, and very briefly, we're talking about a system that is going to be going around 300 kilometers per hour. What could you see as being the potential maximum speed that we could ever see on such a system in the corridor that we're looking at?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a very good question. Not all the details of this has been figured out. As a minimum, it's going to be 300 kilometers. The challenge that we are facing is when we talk about high speed, the minimum radius curve is a very sensitive topic. You cannot have a sharp curve and maintain 300 kilometers per hour. And that number grows exponentially when you try to go from 300 to 360. So these are kind of limitations that we are dealing with from alignment perspectives. You cannot basically go back and forth, up and down, uphills and downhills. There are huge constraints in order for the train to pick up and go over a hill. You have to start the process of a bridge long before. So these are kind of constraints that we are dealing with. So the minimum speed that we are talking about is 300 kilometers, but hopefully we can provide something better than that. But still, it's in progress, as many aspects of this project is coming to the picture in the few months to come.
Joining me now is Jag Bilku, who's going to be talking to us about the environmental impact of the Alto project.
Thank you. From an environmental perspective, the project is looking at a number of different sustainability initiatives. It will be subject to the Impact Assessment Act, and to that, we will be producing a project description by January of next year, and filing that with the Impact Assessment Agency. We've already started doing some baseline studies, and we will continue to do that this year. And as the corridor becomes more refined, we will continue to do studies along the corridor, looking at a number of valued components, such as birds and bats, noise, vibrations, fish and wildlife, and even impacts to communities. And as we go through that, we'll understand what the potential impacts would be to these different valued components, identify potential mitigations to potential impacts, and then we can work to actually implement those mitigations to reduce any environmental impacts that might happen to the community and to the ecosystem.
Okay, so joining me now is Benedict Duran, who's going to be talking about the socio-economic benefits of the Alto project.
Great. Thanks for being here. So the project itself obviously has the potential to really fundamentally change the economy of Eastern Canada. During the construction and development process, we're forecasting 50,000 jobs directly linked to the project, and then following that, during the operations and maintenance, about 5,000 jobs during the actual when the project is live. As well as that, we anticipate real benefits for businesses in the region that have access to a wider pool of talent. So someone who lives in Ottawa would be able to access jobs more easily in Montreal, in Peterborough, in Toronto, and equally, someone who works in Ottawa will be able to travel to a business meeting in Toronto and come back in the same day. Only 2 hours. You can go down in the morning. You can come back, have your meeting, go for coffee, then come back in the evening. And we know that like Teams meetings, Zoom meetings are good, but actually being face to face with people, that increases the value of that interaction. That extra productivity is worth something. And as businesses are able to produce more, they employ more people. That leads to extra wealth, extra value in the country. So we see this by taking the economies at the moment, which are sort of slightly isolated, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Quebec City, bringing them closer together, we have a real beneficial effect. We take 2 and 2, and we add them, and we get 5 because of these extra efficiencies in the economy. And we're really excited about this. This is, we think, a step change for how people interact with the economy and how businesses interact with the economy. And we're really excited to be able to push the Canadian economy forwards in the region.
Great, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you for coming.
Okay, so joining me now is Gina Dogstader, who's going to be talking to us about the Indigenous participation in the Alto project.
Thank you. My name's Gina. I'm a member of the Oneida Nation, and I'm part of our Indigenous relations team here at Alto. We have 2 teams working with approximately 40 communities in Ontario and Quebec, but along the corridor that may be potentially impacted from Quebec to Toronto. And actually, we've been in a conversation with them since 2017, a number of them increasing each year. To date, we feel the receptivity has been open and positive. We're establishing agreements in terms of how they want to be engaged and understand the project. And this screen in particular just talks about where we are. We're in the development and pre-construction phase. And just again, sort of confirming their participation. I think the other thing to point out is that there are 4 pillars around reconciliation with Indigenous communities, and one is that we're establishing meaningful relationships, that we're taking into consideration financial and legacy participation in terms of procurement, labor force development and training, and so as well as our obligation and to fulfill a duty to consult, the legal obligation. And then speaking to communities about other socioeconomic benefits for their communities. So we have been working. So in addition to this public consultation that you're at today, we're working one-on-one with each community. So it's a separate process that's designed with and for them. Some of the current work that we have going on in this next year have to do with field studies, archaeological protocols. We're working with the community. Some of them already have their own, and so we're trying to get to one that communities are comfortable with. And then also there's traditional land use studies. We want to ensure that although the current corridor doesn't traverse through a First Nation community itself, it may impact their traditional territories surrounding. And so, what are their hunting and harvesting practices? What mitigation can Alto do to ensure that we're moving forward in the right way?